I want to go over this master material requirements planning. You know, in the last video we went over the BOM approach to making sure we could see all of our parts and components, and how many of them we needed per unit in order to construct this ultimate goal up here of a wheelbarrow. I am going to go over example 18.3 if you're curious where I'm at. And the information that we need to make this work is this BOM file, which shows here in figure 18.4 all of the assembly levels inside of the construction of a wheelbarrow. Okay, and then down here I have a listing. I'm sorry, but it comes back off of something we've already created. It's our inventory status file. So our inventory status file tells us all of the subassembly and components we need. So pay close attention to this, because we need handlebar assemblies, but we don't have any of the subassemblies. Okay, so apparently when we receive these wheel assemblies, they're done already. So what we do need though are tires, because that's part of our file over here. We do need tires when we start constructing these wheel assemblies. Okay. All right. Now, at this level 1, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 components, and each of those 4 components are listed here. I have the minimum order requirements, how they come, and I have a lead time. How many weeks does it take to get something there or to us? And I have here the on-hand inventory. So I've gone ahead and I've constructed these little boxes. Now I went to a lot of work to do this, and I do this because maybe not expecting you to do it in my class, but eventually you'll want to tie these Excel spreadsheets together, kind of like I'm doing here, because it will make your work life much easier. And it's really strange. It takes you a huge amount of time to do it the first time, and then all of a sudden you've got something that works kind of on autopilot, and it's not that big of a deal anymore. So I will include this in the material for module, probably for module 23, since, no, I guess both 18.2 and 18.3 are part of module 24, so I'll put it in with module 24, so that you can kind of play around and see what I did. All right, this first line in reference to the paint assembly goes back to the expected demand that we're to have for wheelbarrows. So this expected demand is that direct demand. I'm sorry, this is the demand coming from the customers. So I guess they would call that indirect demand. As an economist, I find all these different terms disturbing. But this indirect demand tells me what I need in each week when I'm assembling this object. So I only want to put that in there twice. So if you start playing around with this spreadsheet, you'll notice that every other place I've just referred to this first spreadsheet. Now, again, why would I do that? So if there's a change in one of the processes, it feeds all the way through my system. Okay. All right, so let me go back to what I had. All right, the only thing that I have not programmed is this line, the scheduled receipts, because one of these lines has to drive this or make it go. So I left that one blank, and no formulas in any of these first level entry or inputs. If there is an input, I manually put it in. Every other row in these little boxes, not so much. Right, there's on-hand delivery. Well, what did I start with? Minus what I'm going to use, plus whatever came in. So as I kind of march across this, in our example, now there we go again. There's the delivery at the beginning of the time period, what I'm going minus what I'm going to use minus what I'm going to receive. And in the statement of the problem, it said that in week 3 we're going to receive a handlebar assembly. And so there you can see my ending inventory of 70, didn't produce anything, minus 0, plus the 200 items that were received, taking me to an inventory of 270. All right. Let me play around for just a second. As I walk through this wheel assembly, I notice again that my inventory starts out at 200. I use 50 units, I get nothing. Okay, and I can continue to kind of march across. I noticed eventually I come to this negative 30. If I see a negative number there, I need to make an order. And when do I need to make an order? That's kind of the gist of what we're doing here. Well, I go over to my my inventory listing over here, and I see that when I order a wheel assembly, it's going to take 4 weeks of lead time to get everything together so that I'm ready right here. Okay, so here's what I get. I want 300 units because that's the minimum order quantity. I want it to show up in week 8. Okay. So I have to order it 4 weeks back. So if you look what I did here, once again, I don't know if you need to do it here for a homework assignment, but I tell you, it would make your life a lot easier later in life when you're actually doing this out in business. And so what I did is down here, I said, okay, well, let me start back here. If 4 weeks from now there's nothing ordered, well then I'll just leave it blank. But if this cell is not 0, well then I'm going to set it equal to the order quantity, which is 300. Okay? So let's keep marching across here. I don't need anything in week 6. I don't have to order anything in week 2. I don't need any order in week 7, so I don't order anything in week 3. But in week 8, I need more wheel assemblies. And so I need to make sure I order them on time. So I go looking, I need this in week 8, so that cell is not 0. And when I do make my order, it's got to be this minimum quantity of 300. So, you know, this is true, therefore 300 is going to go here, not the blank. Okay. So all of these level 1 items are programmed roughly the same. You know, one of them I start with, and then the rest feed off of the 1. Now, there's no second level ordering to do. Once again, that was not part of what we have come in. Apparently somebody else is assembling this for us, so we don't have to worry about these level 2 items. But I do have to worry about these level 3. Now, notice the projected requirements are different here for these level 3 items. Well, why are they different? Because the demand here is not feeding from the original or from the final demand. The demand here is feeding off of, well, what do I need in the wheel assembly? So I'm looking and saying, okay, well, what requirements do I have 4 weeks down the road? Why 4 weeks? Okay, because if this cell up here were non-empty, then I'm going to want to order something 1 week prior, right? Because there's a 1 week delay on tires. So let's kind of work our way through this. So the direct demand is 0 in week 1. My inventory is 100, which I probably should finish writing this. 100 plus 0, sorry, minus 0. minus 0 plus the scheduled receipt. And then this week, okay, I have it right for that week. And then beyond. All right. So here's what I see. I see that I have a demand for 300 units in week 4, but before I make this order, I get a negative on-hand inventory. So I go over and I say, okay, well, I need to order some tires. I've got a 1-week delay, so I better order them in week 3. And then my inventory starts following a similar pattern to anything we did above. Well, I hope I find this scheduling process fairly fascinating. I don't know why. Maybe just weird things that kind of run my engine. But hopefully you find it interesting as well. Once again, work through this video, and then you can pull up this Excel spreadsheet out of the class material in Module 24. Thanks.